What's going on, everybody? I'm Clayton. You're listening to Ages of Fear podcast number 34, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Part 2, released in 1986, directed by Tobe Hooper, starring Dennis Hopper as Lefty, Caroline Williams as Stretch, Bill Johnson as Leatherface, Bill Mosley as Chop Top, and Jim Sedow as Drayton Sawyer. The budget for this film was $4.5 million. The movie grossed $8 million, giving it a net gain of $3.5 million. Those are the numbers for TCM Part 2. What's up, everyone? Hope you're doing well wherever you are out there. Thanks for kicking it with me here in Ages of Fear. If you're new to my channel, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and turn on those notification buttons so you get notified every time I drop a new video here in Ages of Fear. To all my new subscribers, I want to say thank you very much for joining the family, joining the dark side, choosing to kick it with me. I greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're a fan of horror, go check out Movies and Beyond with Michael. He's a great dude and good friend. He's got an awesome channel over there, always dropping great content. He's got horror brackets. He does live streams, does reaction videos. Go check out all his stuff, man. Great channel. I couldn't recommend it more. And yeah, I'm sure if you're a fan of movies in general, you'll like Michael's stuff. But specifically, I think if you're a horror fan, there's a ton of content for you to enjoy and feast on. So go give him a subscription, thumbs up, and yeah, go check out his channel. Also, The Bearded Entertainment with Eric, another great dude with a lot of great content over there. If you're a horror fan, there's plenty of stuff to enjoy and watch and tune into. So go give Bearded Entertainment a subscription as well. Check his stuff out, and yeah, give him a thumbs up on some of his awesome content. And then if you're a fan of movies in general, looking for some good YouTube reviewers, movie reviewers out there, I would recommend Brian Lomax. His channel is banging, it's popping. He's always putting out great content. Right now he's reviewing different Oscar award winning films over the years, but he's got plenty to choose from. He also does live streams, Q&A, ranking videos, just everything, anything and everything you could want. Brian does it over there. So go check out Brian's awesome channel. Hit that sub button, give him a thumbs up, let him know that Clayton from Ages of Fear sent you, and yeah, give him some support as well. All right, so we are going through the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. If you're new to my channel, I've already reviewed the entire Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I reviewed the Friday the 13th franchise, done some one-offs. So it's time to dive into some TCM. This is the 50th anniversary of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. 50 years of TCM, 50 years of the Sawyers or the Hewitts, whatever family you want to pick from, Leatherface, all of it, 50 years this year. So we're celebrating, we're kicking it with some TCM right now. So hope you enjoy this run of films. At the end, we're going to do a ranking video as we do at the end of the series that we've done so far. So stay tuned for that at the end of the series. But all that out of the way, let's talk Texas Chainsaw Part 2. So initially, when I first saw this movie, it's very different than the first film. Hooper directed both the first and the second one. He obviously, I think, made them very different than each other. The first TCM, he only had about $100,000 budget. This one, he had about a $4 million budget. So quite a bit more that he was able to do and had access to for this film. Um, Question is it any good? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'll talk about that for a second. The first time I saw it, I liked it. I did. I thought it was crazy. It was bonkers. I enjoyed the wacky performances, over the top performances of it. I did enjoy it. However, I would say that TCM Part 2 and TCM Part 1, the original, have had the opposite effect on me over the years. If you haven't seen my review of the original Texas Chainsaw, I mentioned how I wasn't a fan of that one the first time I saw it, but over the years it's grown on me, and now I'm actually a fan of the original Texas movie. I like it quite a bit. Part 2 has had the reverse effect on me. So the first time I saw TCM Part 2, I liked it, but over the years it's kind of it's lost that magic for me. I will say I still don't think this is a bad film, but it's gone down in its rating over the years for me. And I'll obviously at the end I'll give my overall rating of it now, but just know that I'm not as big on this one as I used to be, or as I was the first time I saw it. So I do think it still has some positives going for it. So I'll get into some of those positives now. One of them I think is in the directing by Toby Hooper. I think you can tell he has a lot larger of a budget to work with in this movie. The production design looks really good. The underground cave that the Sawyers have built under the amusement park in Dallas. This one takes place in Dallas. The first one took place somewhere in southern Texas. They didn't really specify where, but this one's supposed to be somewhere around or in Dallas, in this like cave that the Sawyer family has found or built under this old abandoned amusement park looking thing. And yeah, I think that the production design there looks really good, and I think it fits. I think the tone and the feel to this movie. I do enjoy the tone. It's a very kind of gross and just grimy, gritty feel to it. It's not for a lot of people. I get it. If that type of tone and atmosphere isn't really your thing, I totally get it and respect it. It definitely has to be your type of film. It has to be that kind of setting and tone has to be appealing for you to enjoy the tone and the setting and the environment of this film. I personally do like it in a horror film. I think it does already it puts me in the type of tone and atmosphere that I want to be in for a horror film. So I am a fan of the production design, the tone, the look to this film. I also liked the makeup here that was done primarily on Bill Moseley as Chop Top. I thought the stuff they did on him looks really good. The costumes, yeah, makeup, costumes, all that stuff looked really good. I liked some of the cinematography here as well. Some of the shots that they pulled off, I thought were pretty cool. It had a good hue to it, good shadowing to it. So yeah, I liked the cinematography. Thought it was good. I like the score. This is definitely an improvement from the original. The original TCM didn't really have a score necessarily because it was meant to be a much more immersive experience. This one doesn't have that. This movie is not necessarily meant to be approached the same way that original film was. This is more supposed to be from it's more of a viewing experience rather than an immersive experience, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. But I did like the score here, especially that beat that opens up the movie. I thought was pretty cool. I liked some of the characters here. I thought it did have, as far as in the writing, there are some good characters. Chop Top is very iconic, and has a lot of fans of Chop Top. Understandably so. Bill Moseley made that character iconic, and he really kind of steals this film. Chop Top is kind of like the main attraction when it comes to the Sawyer family in this movie. It's not really Leatherface. It's definitely more Chop Top, and that is in large part to Bill Moseley's performance in that character. But I do like that character. I thought that character was well written. Just kind of this weird, bizarre, creepy character. It's always kind of makes you feel uneasy when he's on screen. Something about him. So I thought he was a good character. Obviously, we get Leatherface coming back, who's an iconic character in horror. Dennis Hopper as Lefty. I love Dennis Hopper. Think he's a phenomenal actor. And I think he knew the type of film that he was in, and he really kind of leaned into that. And played into that kind of over the top performance, because quite frankly, all the performances in this movie are over the top. This is a movie where you go large in your performance. You don't pull your punches. You don't hold back at all in your performance. This is the type of film where you go large, you go heavy, and you go over the top. And Hopper knew that. He played into that, and I enjoyed what he did with that Lefty character. Made him very just a wild man. I mean, he's dual wielding chainsaws at the end. Yeah, great stuff, man. Great stuff. Love it. So yeah, he was a good character. I thought Stretch was a good character. Good final girl. She's not going to crack my top 5 final girls in horror or anything like that, but I thought she was good, entertaining, much better than the final girl in the original. That's for sure. I'll take her any day of the week and twice on Sunday over. I don't even remember the chick's name from the. I'm bad with names. Period, guys. I'm sorry about that. I'm horrible with names, but I don't even remember the name of the character of the final girl in the original Texas movie. But Stretch, I think she is a good final girl, and good performance there as well. Again, over the top as well, but it works in this type of film. So I thought the acting was good. I thought the characters were good. A lot of the directing was good with the makeup and the score and the production design, the cinematography. All that stuff was really good. I also found it to be mildly entertaining, mildly to, pretty positively entertaining. It is a film that it does keep my attention. I am, engaged with it. I'm wanting to watch and see, what's going to happen. Even though I've seen this movie multiple times, I'm still an active viewer. I'm still actively engaged with the film. So I do find it entertaining. And I do think that it did leave an emotional effect on me as well. Like some of the scenes are pretty grotesque. I think it definitely ups the ante in effects and grotesque type of visuals. The scene where Leatherface is skinning what's the guy's name? Stretch's pal, CJ or something like that. When Leatherface is skinning him, and you just see the skin peeling off his body. That's pretty grotesque stuff, and then you have him standing up and you just see all his skin exposed. You see his face peeled off. I mean, it's pretty, pretty heavy stuff. So, yeah, I definitely think it ups the ante in the practical effects and stuff like that, which all look really good as well. That was another positive. The practical effects here, I think, look, there's a couple scenes where it doesn't quite hold up today, but for the most part, 1986, this movie being almost 40 years old now, I think it does pretty well in the practical effects. Again, just another reason why it's always better to go practical over CGI. But that's another conversation I won't get into. But yeah, anyways, those are my positives, the things that I liked with the film. Moving into the negatives, so the positive part of the writing is in the characters. I think there's some well-written characters in the movie. However, there's also some negatives with the writing, and primarily in the script itself. There's a bunch of filler in this movie. I mean, that's really undeniable. Regardless of how you feel about this movie, even if this is one of your favorite TCM movies, if you watch this movie, it's very clear that this movie has a lot of filler in it. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of scenes that are doing absolutely nothing to advance the story in the movie. The scenes are just prolonged for no real specific reason other than they don't have much of a script to work with, and they're just trying to drag out that runtime a little bit. But there's no reason to have some of the scenes drag out as long as they do. It's not doing anything for the story. It's not advancing the story along in any way. And we get quite a bit of that in the movie. Like there's, like for example, the scene where Leatherface and Chop Top break into the recording studio, and they go to try to kill Stretch and her friend, and Leatherface is in the the freezer or whatever it is with Stretch. That scene goes on for like 5-6 minutes for no real reason. I mean, there really isn't any reason why that scene needed to go that long. We can feel tension in the scene because of the stakes, because of the fact that Leatherface is going after our final girl. Like that's, if you execute that right, that builds the tension that you need for the scene. You don't have to drag that out for 5 or 6 minutes just to eat up screen time, and there's a lot of that in the movie. Scenes that are dragged out very long in order to make this an hour-and-a-half film, but it's filler content. It's content that's in the film that does not need to be there. It's a lot of filler oftentimes in film is because there's not enough meat to the script itself, that the directors need to drag out the scenes because there's not much going on in the script to advance the story itself. And that's what we get, a lot of that in this movie. So that's a negative for me, is a lot. I don't like loose scenes that aren't doing anything for the story. They're not advancing anything along. They're not telling us anything that we need to know about the characters or about the stories. It's just leaving us in the scene for prolonged periods of time when we don't need to be there. So yeah, that would be a negative for me in the film. There's some script issues as well, like the fact that Stretch's recording buddy, I forget his name, I think it's like CJ or something like that. If you guys seen the movie, you know who I'm talking about. But that dude gets hit in the head with the hammer about 100 times. Like when Chop Top is in the studio and he's like Okay, three hits in the head with a hammer, you're dead. All right, like if someone is using full force with a hammer to your skull, you're not surviving that. All right, he got beat and he got nailed, popped in the head about a dozen times by Chopped Up, and you still see him like kicking and like moving around. It's like, dude, there's no way that that dude would still be alive after all of those shots to the skull. His brains would just be scrambled. They'd be scrambled eggs. And yet he still survives somehow. Like his brain's not even smashed in. Like we see him later after he's been skinned. He like gets up and tries to cut Stretch loose because they tied her up. He's trying to cut the rope so she can get loose, and his brain is still perfectly intact. Like dude, you just got smashed in the skull with a hammer about 24 times, man. One, there's no way that your head and skull should still be intact. Two, there's no way you should still be alive right now. So yeah, stuff like that makes absolutely no sense. How he would have been able to survive all those shots to the head with a hammer. You had those kids in the beginning in the car that are just way over the top, and they spend. I mean, it starts off probably mid-afternoon, and they're all hoppy and skippity and up, like they just had, 5 Red Bulls or something. And then it cuts to nighttime and they're still just, all wound up. Yeah, it's like, come on. I get that these are supposed to be like college kids. I was in college at one point myself. I was 19, 20, at one point. I was not like that. Okay, I was dumb and stupid and reckless, but I was not like that. All right, that just some of the stuff that's in the script here is just unnecessarily outrageous. I get that the whole film is supposed to be kind of like that, an outrageous type of film. This is a crazy film, but you still got to have some type of reason and logic functioning here, right? Because this is still planet Earth. These are still human beings that we're dealing with. These aren't aliens or robots or droids or Jedi or whatever. Like this is still planet Earth. You still have laws of logic and reason operating here. So we should be able to make sense of what's going on in the script. And there's a number of things that we just don't or can't really make sense of. So yeah, that would be another negative for me. Another issue I had with the film, and I don't think it really even bothered me the first time I saw this movie, but this has definitely been something that has negatively affected me over the years as I've come back to this movie, and that is the treatment of Leatherface, how they handle Leatherface in this movie. They make him very empathetic to Stretch, like he's trying to help Stretch. He's trying to help her get free. He doesn't want to hurt her. He kind of has feelings for her or whatever. No, dude. No, I ain't about that. That is not Leatherface, all right? That I do not see that as a natural continuation of that character from the first TCM. The first Texas Chainsaw movie, Leatherface was a savage there. He was, intimidating. He was scary. He didn't give a crap about the girls in that movie. Didn't give a crap about the characters. He was just out for blood. And now here, he's all soft and, wanting to help her get out and get free. I don't buy it for a second. That's not Leatherface. To me, Leatherface should be a savage. He should be, imposing. He should be a brute. He should be intimidating. He should be scary and frightening. Not just this big, clumsy dummy that's just, trying to help the victims, feeling bad for the victims, trying to help them, escape. So that has been something that has grown on me in a negative way over the years, and I've come to not like the usage of Leatherface in this movie, and him kind of getting not really sidelined in the film because he is one of the main characters, but he's not, they don't build the film around Leatherface in this movie. It's much more Chop Top's film than it is Leatherface's, really. And while I think Chop Top is an entertaining character, Leatherface, at the end of the day, is who this franchise is built on. It's on his shoulders. He is the most frightening character. He should be the most frightening character. And in this movie, he just really wasn't. And yeah, that's an issue for me with TCM. And then the ending, was also weird. Like I wasn't a fan of the ending in this movie. I get that the Texas franchise kind of is known for having really bizarre and just subtle endings. Like the first one just ends with the girl riding off in the back of the guy's truck, and Leatherface is there dancing, doing his little dance with the chainsaw, going into a Tespicarean, and then this one you just have Stretch on top of the thing on top of the mountain, just wave it in the chainsaw back and forth, and that's it. That's a wrap. I'll go home. Train stops. I'll get off. I would like it doesn't even necessarily have to be a good ending, but just a decent ending. Like, give us something that's just like, okay, I can see that being the end to the story. But yeah, I guess it was the end to the story, but you left one of the main characters in Lefty, just like, okay, what happened to that character? Like he was kind of a main character in this film, and we never find out what happened to him. He's fighting off Leatherface and the other Sawyer character with his chainsaw, but then we never see what happens, what becomes of him. It's kind of important information there to the finale of the story. It just felt incomplete, if that makes sense. The ending to this film, it felt very incomplete. There wasn't a solid ending there. So yeah, not a fan of how the film ends, personally, but that's pretty much it on Texas Chainsaw Part 2's. Pretty much all I gotta say. Those are my thoughts. Again, just my opinion on the movie. You guys are more than welcome to disagree with me. That's totally fine. Just be respectful about it in the comment section. My overall rating for TCM Part 2, I'm going to give it 3 stars. So I do still like it. I would still give it a positive review. I do still think the good outweighs the bad with the film. But it has come down for me over the years. If you were to ask me what I would give this movie after the first time I saw it, it would probably have been around a 4 stars. But over the years, it's kind of come down for me a little bit. So it's to me, I feel pretty confident with the 3-star rating here. Over the years, it might go down to like 2.5, 2.5 stars, but for now, I feel good about giving it 3 stars. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's my rating of TCM Part 2. Let me know your thoughts and your rating on this movie. Do you agree or disagree with my takes, my rating of this film? Let me know in the comment section, and tune in next time for Ages of Fear when we discuss Texas Chainsaw Part 3. And one more thing, this coming Sunday, I do plan on doing another live stream horror bracket with vampire and werewolf movies. So if you're a fan of vampires or werewolves, you want to kick it with me, live stream on Sunday afternoon, let's go hang out with me here in Ages of Fear. Hit the notification button so you get notified when I go live. And I'm sure, I think we had fun last Sunday. with the horror bracket that we did. It was my first one. Quality isn't all that great on it. I apologize for that, but I like to think that we still had fun doing it. So hopefully this Sunday will be even funner. So yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, kick it and rock on.